This video is going to describe how to remove the self-propel transmission on the Honda HR214 lawnmower. The issue that I had was I kept getting like a click, click, click as I was trying to use the self-propel mode, and it just wasn't clicking in initially, and it did after a little bit. I then found a video online on YouTube done by Double Wide 6. Talks about repairing the transmission, so you should be able to find that online. I'll try to put a link down below, but the rest of this video is describing how to get the transmission off. The video that Double Wide did, or Double Wide 6 did, was of the transmission after it had already been off. So hopefully you find this interesting, and good luck. One of the first things that I did was take off the blade. I drained the oil, drained the gasoline as much as possible, although there is a plastic bag underneath the gas cap to prevent the gas from coming out, what little there is. The next step after taking the blade off is taking off this plastic cover that's on the back, and it'll goes to the transmission drive that goes to the engine. So when you take that off, there's a nut or a bolt that's down there that needs to be removed. Then there's some clips up top, and you can pull that off, and then you'll be able to see the shaft that goes in to the engine. Okay. So the next issue appears to be disconnecting the drive shaft from the transmission. You'll notice there's a clip that's kind of there. It's got the two prongs, and it holds a pin in place on both this end, and you'll notice over here. Now in this case I've got the clip moved back, and you can see the exposed pin up top there. Now underneath these rubber black items, there's it's filled with grease. There's an O-ring that's holding the rubber in place. You can kind of see the O-ring right at the end there. So I believe the next step is trying to get that pin out, and then once the pin is out, then it'll be detached from the transmission in the back. Yeah, so sure enough, I was able to get the pin out. I used a nail set from underneath the lawnmower and basically pushed it through. And as soon as you pull it out, now you're able to pull that right off, and then you're able to go ahead and start removing the transmission. The next step is to remove both wheels, and it's fairly straightforward. Go ahead and just screw that off. It's a little different than some of the other Hondas, but as it pulls off, you can see the back end of that. And there's the ratchet and the washer. Now you notice there's a pin back over here which fits in to the back of that. Okay. So you need to do the same thing on the other side. Remove the wheel, remove these pieces. One thing as well is when you are taking off the wheels, make sure you keep track of the wheel, because you need to put them back on the same sides. Otherwise, the self-propulsion is not going to be working in the right direction. Okay, so what I found here is that the easiest way to detach it is to remove this bolt here, and then we'll remove the assembly. You can see how this whole thing is moving. So I'll go ahead and do that on both sides, and we should have it off in just a bit. Okay, I found that the easiest way to get extra cable so you can actually really work on this is to collapse the handle so that there's enough room so you can actually pull it out. So now you can actually see, again, the spring-loaded version is the self-propulsion cable, and the other cable is the speed control. Okay, so this is the self-propelled cable removed. And basically it's compressing the spring, pulling out the cable, and then disconnecting the end. Next is the speed control. In order to disconnect the speed control cable, you need to have the setting on the slow speed, #1 or turtle. And here is the disconnected transmission. Okay, so here's the lawnmower, all back in working condition. It works great. The one thing as well, again, take a look at Double Wide 6's videos about the transmission and what to do in there. But I think at least this video gives you a good idea how to take the transmission out of the HR214 Honda.